meeting.
Hey, so welcome to our first meeting. We're gonna wait a few minutes just to get people settled in, some more people viewing, and then we'll go ahead and start. So we'll start at in about 2 or 3 minutes, just to get everyone settled in.
Oh, that delay is kind
Um,
Kellen, you should come join us on stream.
Alright, so just to introduce ourselves, I'm Ethan Ma. I'm currently a senior, and I'm the lead engineer of Team 7046 this year.
I'm Nikhil Narula. I'm currently also a senior, and I'm the business operations lead.
My name is Ayush Panda, and I'm a senior, and I'm the lead programmer for 1746.
I'm Avery Banks. I'm the electrical lead for this year, and I am a junior.
So to give some background on our team, we're Team 1746. We're currently at Forsyth Central High School, but we've been a part of Forsyth County since about 2006. So we do have a long history with this county and also with the school. So we can go ahead and get started with the presentation. Yep, so our team, the FCHS Robotics Club, we have year-round meetings. And within these meetings, we try to be as flexible with most schedules as possible. This means if you're taking marching band or another club like that, we'll try to be flexible with our meetings. We do have a lot of meetings, so if you can't make it, it's not a big deal. Also, I want to stress, since we're currently meeting online, if you're a full virtual student, that doesn't constrict your ability to participate in our club, since you can still participate in our weekly meetings and things like that. So also along this club, it's an amazing opportunity to get some real-world engineering experience before you go to college. So you have a little bit of a head start. When you do go to college, you're applying for internships, you'll have that background already. To give a little bit of an idea of what an actual match looks like, we can play a little bit of match footage. This is from our most recent competition just a few months ago, before COVID wave really hit, so we can go and play that. So here, the first 15 seconds is called the autonomous mode. What this means is that the robot is completely independent of human controls. It's all code and programming based. I usually can give a little bit more on that in a bit. After 15 seconds, we enter the teleoperated stage, and that's really where the human drivers take control. So if you really like playing video games, taking control, using controllers, if you play Rocket League, that's a big one. Yeah, if you're interested in that, then you're welcome to our drive team. Moving on to team structure, Nikhil will give a little bit of how our team communicates within Slack, GrabCAD, GitLab, and more.
So our team primarily communicates through Slack. This is where all of our meetings are held and future plans are discussed. Furthermore, Trello is used in addition to Slack as a way of organizing projects and future goals. Google, GrabCAD, and GitHub are all going to be used for your sub-teams respectively as storage systems. At the end of the presentation, you can join the Trello and Slack easily.
And more on that Slack, if you want to join, we have a form and a description that you can fill out right now. Alright, so for the next slide, we have the mechanical team. And when you think robotics, this is probably what you're thinking about first. This is the actual, you have a computer, you design, you prototype. So of course, this team is mostly tasked with designing, manufacturing, and assembling the robot. So we use a lot of computer-aided design, where we design subsystems and robots on the computer. But first, we have begun coming up with ideas and designs. So in the top left image, you can see we're using a whiteboard to get a general geometry of how a robot's going to work. And then you can see some of our manufacturing techniques. In the bottom, we use a lot of computer numerical control, CNC. So if you're interested in getting some experience in manufacturing, this is definitely the team to join.
So electrical team deals with most of the mounting the electronics, designing wire runs, assembling the different parts of the power runs, we use a power distribution panel to get power to our motor controllers. We have a separate kind of sub-team that we're starting up this year with pneumatics that will kind of coincide with the mechanical team. Be working with pneumatic tubing and cylinders as well. You'll learn to solder, organize batteries, and how to use copper.
So hi, once again, my name is Ayush, and I am the programming lead for 1746. And as Ethan highlighted a couple of seconds ago when showing some footage of our match, is in programming, we try to get the robot moving. And to make that to elaborate on that further, I guess, is the way we get it moving is through two separate periods within a competition. We have autonomous and teleop. Teleop is where you control the robot with an Xbox controller or any other kind of controller. And the way we do that is that we use Java to program the buttons to certain functions in the robot just to make the driver's lives easier. And then as for the other mode, autonomous, the robot runs completely by itself. And we pre-program the instructions for the robot ahead of time based on any given scenario within the match. So like I said before, Java is the primary language that we like to use to program our robot. And for other things that we do besides just controlling the robot, we do a lot of artificial intelligence and computer vision using languages such as Python as well. So if you've had experience with Python, such as taking classes with a CSB, you'll definitely be able to integrate in the team as well. Or if you're taking CSA and you're learning Java, same goes for you as well. And if you don't have any programming experience, or like with the other sub-teams, you have no mechanical or electrical experience, don't worry about it. We will get you up to speed by the start of the season with the workshops they'll be hosting as the season goes by.
So the primary directive of the business team is to maintain and look out for sponsors, but within the business team we also do many other things, such as first off, there's a bunch of graphic design and branding that's involved. So managing our social medias, designing our team's t-shirts, designing posters, and etc. If you're good at that, you can do that in the business team, as well as local team outreach, such as like visiting middle schools. If you were from Otwell, you may have come to one of our STEM nights. That was pretty much fully organized by the business team. So within the business team, it's not just talking to sponsors and such. It's communication, it's graphic design, it's art. It's pretty much the non-STEM aspect of the team.
And also, I like to say that business team is probably also the most important team in the entire club, since they do maintain sponsor relations. That's where all our income comes from. If we don't have any money, then we can't operate. So if you want to seek sponsorships and things like that, it's also the team for you. Next is scouting team. This is actually one of the more unique teams. So this is what wins competitions. So you go to competitions, you sit in the stands, and you take data from other teams and you analyze it. So at the end of it, we go in kind of a snake choosing pattern. So it goes from the 1st seed to the 8th seed, and then for choosing teams to join an alliance. So therefore, you have to have a good list of teams you want to choose, and if someone gets picked before you, then you have to move on to the next general list. So if you like things like fantasy football, then this is definitely the thing for you. If you like analyzing data, collecting information, then this is a great team to join.
So those are all the sub-teams for all that pretty much make up our entire team. Now it's time to move on to how our competition season works. So every year we start off with kickoff, which is, I believe, in the first week of January. And on this kickoff day, we are given what the event or what the game will be for the entire year. They give us a whole explanatory video, and they give us this really big manual, just, with all the fine details of how the game works. And we've run a local kickoff here in Forsyth County for, I guess, as long as the team has existed. And we just, at the end of watching the video and combing through the manual, we come up with ideas of what we think the robot will be or what we want to do for the entire season as we go along ahead till the competition.
So of course, since we're in kind of this season of global pandemic, last season was cut short before fierce competition really began to develop and also going to the next season. So there are quite a few changes. So first, of course, the 2020 season which was the one from last semester, was suspended as a result of COVID-19. And the 2021 season will therefore be a replay of the previous year's game. What that means is that this rather strict build season, where we were first given a game and then a few weeks to build our robot, is extended through the whole year. And also we can use our last year's robot. So we can take last year's robot, make a bunch of improvements, and then use that in competitions. There are quite a few changes, but overall you'll still have a great time at competitions if they do end up happening and the virus allows it so. Moving on to the next slide. Avery will describe some of our meeting schedules and what we do in that.
So our meeting schedule so far is we're meeting online on Slack. We're having calls to discuss some projects going forward. Most of them you can do from home at the moment. If we build up enough projects for a in-person meeting, we will have one, but we will try to keep those limited to the amount of people. For build season, we usually have meetings 3 times a week, sometimes more if we need to catch up on work. Usually we have Saturdays or one of the weekend days to work. All meetings are not required, so you do not have to make it to every meeting.
So onto the actual building aspect of the robot and what really the season looks like itself. So our team, we spend a significant portion of our time going through the engineering process. What this means is that if you have skills in coming up with ideas and quickly making them into working prototypes, then you really find that your skills will be valued. So for example, on the last slide you saw we had some prototypes, and on this slide you can see what happens after prototyping. So after we have a design that we know works, we go to CAD. We use a program called SolidWorks where we design at home on our computers. And here you can see some of our CAD designs that will eventually make it to this stage, the fabrication and manufacturing stage. So if you really like working with your hands or sitting in front of a computer and doing some soft design skills, this is really the club for you to join. And of course, along that, we're only driven by our business team and also our sponsorships and real-world experience.
So one of the primary directives of the business team is to interact with local businesses around Georgia in an attempt to collect sponsors and mentors for the team. So our sponsors, they range in values from donations to fabrication of equipment and to mentors who help each of our sub-teams in their direction. These sponsorships can also lead to real-world visits to these companies. Each of us has been to one of these companies before, and the visit is amazing. We do a presentation, we do a demonstration of the robot and such. These sponsorships can also lead to internships if the sponsors catch you, like if they find you interesting.
Mm-hmm. And also, of course, that I like to stress the real-world experience. So once you're entering your higher education, you're just not kind of thrown into a bunch of things you're unfamiliar with. So here you'll gain some experience in a professional environment working with different companies. So for example, for a CAD, we ship all of our sheet metal to our sheet metal sponsor, Metcamp, and they manufacture it for us. So it's exactly like in the real world if we were maintaining a sponsor, or not a sponsor, but a customer and manufacturer relationship.
So after the robot gets manufactured, you go through the fabrication and all those processes. You're pretty much just sitting with a assembled robot that can't really do anything special. That's where programming comes in. And we use, like as I previously said, Java to get all the functions on the robot up and running. But you can get a robot moving forward, back, left, right, whatever. But when we go into a competition, we have to have some sort of edges or aces up our sleeve to make ourselves real competitive in that sort of setting. And the way we do that is we add in a lot of extra functions that make the driver's life easier when it comes to competing in any sort of match, and along with making our autonomous score a lot more higher by adding in extra instructions or just optimizing the whole process. And as you can see with the GIFs on the slide right here, we have, for example, in the first one, we have one of our robots scoring, and the reason why this is really special is that when the driver goes up to score this sort of game piece or stick the patch disc, that's what we called it, onto that Velcro piece, it's really hard to aim it and get it right without spending a couple seconds finicking around with the joystick. And the way we wish to optimize that process is by having a little camera that would allow the robot to just immediately line up with that sort of scoring section, slap the hatch on the rocket or that little Velcro piece, and just run back. And then as for the game this year, since we're shooting balls, we don't know in what position we're going to be in when we go to shoot balls. So we have a little turret right here, which automatically lines up with the target if the driver just presses a button and it just fires away. So if you like kind of just testing a lot, but you're not really kind of the person that likes to get their hands dirty, programming is definitely the sub-team for you.
So now to explain some of our past competitions and what we've done. Or first, would you explain the upcoming season? So it's gonna be a little bit different, and I should explain a little bit of what's gonna happen in this upcoming season.
So in the past, we've always had 2 district events, a state and world, but because of the COVID pandemic this year, that sort of structure has changed in the fact that now we have 8 to 9 small one-day events. So if you have a lot of time commitments, especially around that time of the year, this will work a lot better for you when it comes to coming to the competitions or satisfying your STEM competition requirement. But because of this, and we have to enforce social distancing at these competitions, we can bring only a smaller team to these competitions. So if you are interested in coming to these competitions, you will have to make sure that you are an active member of the team. And the rest of the team, if we don't believe that you have that high of an importance or value to bringing you to these competitions, you will be staying at school or you will probably be helping around with things such as scouting. And as for the state competition, the top 18 teams of the entire state will be going to one competition where we will decide who gets to win. As unfortunately this year, we believe we will not be having a Worlds competition.
So as I said earlier, here are some of our past achievements. So before the season was called off last year, for the 2020 season, we were the finalists in our first week 1 event, which is really good. We almost won, but we were really close. And within our 2019 season, we were finalists at the state and the regional competition. We won our second regional competition, and we qualified for the World Championship. So to give you an idea of what the World Championship looks like, it was probably one of my favorite experiences in this club. We traveled all the way to Houston, Texas for a few days. We got out of school, and then it was a very good experience. So we had 14 states participate total in that. We were finalists in our division, which places us among the world that year, which is really impressive coming from a team without without huge sponsors like NASA and things like that. So it was a really great experience. Here to give you some more ideas of what it looks like. You can see our team posing in front of the Minute Maid Stadium, which is where the finals were held that year. Also, you can kind of see the size and scale of the competition with the crowds. All the stands were full, which is really a great experience. Here you can see the entire stands were full with 1,000 students. Of course, this was pre-pandemic, so we're not sure how it'll go this year, but really it was a great experience. So what's next? So our team will be hosting various training calls for each sub-team. So if you're really interested in this, you don't have to have any prior experience. All you need is to show up, and then we'll catch you up on all the skills you need. So here you can see the weekly call schedule. Of course, as Avery said earlier, every Wednesday we'll have our general meeting at 5:30, which we chose that time since with the online schedule, we're not sure when students will be back home. So 5:30 we thought would be a great time. And on the side, you can see each individual sub-team and when their meeting calls are. So if you're interested in any of these weekly calls, just join our Slack, and then we'll get you plugged in. And of course, here's a QR code to join our Slack. We also have a link in the description. It's a Google form, and if you fill it out and put your email in, then we'll be good to go. Now we can take any questions that you might have in the live chat, and then we can answer them. If you don't have any, then we can move on to our next part. We can do a quick robot demonstration of one of our pad robots, which I think will be a great experience. Do you have the stream pulled up? On your phone? So that's okay. If we don't have any questions, we can just move on to our next thing. Ayush, can you show us one of our past robots?
So just as a quick demonstration, we just want to show you exactly the robots that we build and actually getting to see it move live. So this robot right here is from our 2016 competition, and the goal for that year was to shoot these, I guess you could say, kind of like these dodgeballs up into these hoops, which are kind of designed as towers because they had a whole medieval theme going on in 2016. And I'll get the robot up and running very soon. And yeah, also this is another job for programming. So I guess you get to see some live action work of how programming rolls.
Alright, so we do have a quick question. What's the best way to get connected with a specific sub-team? So if you're new to the team and you want to kind of experience what all the sub-teams are like, all of our sessions will be recorded, so you'll have a good idea of what each one's like if you can't make it to live meetings. As for getting plugged into a specific one, of course we have our weekly call schedule, and we can pull up that slide. Or we can pull it up after the demonstration, but if you go back in the VOD, you'll be able to see our weekly call schedule, specifically for which teams you want to join, which teams you want to interact with, and then of course we'll teach you all the skills you need to know for interacting. So hopefully that answers your question.
Once you get into the Slack, you're able to join each sub-team's channel. So you'll be able to see whenever a call is happening and what's happening in that sub-team.
And we also had another question. Can you post this live stream on our YouTube channel? Yes, we can. So with YouTube, every time you complete a live stream, the VOD will, or the live stream video will be automatically uploaded. So you'll be able to see our this live stream once we've completed it. All right, and it looks like we have our robot up and running now, so we can quickly show you guys what that's all about. Can you see it? This is a few years old, so it takes a few seconds to connect. Yeah, so you see it's a really great experience. Yeah, so of course these robots are industrial sized. If you want a good scale, if you look at your washing machine, it's probably about that size. Each one is about 140 pounds with every addition of battery and safety equipment on it. So these are really big robots, and it's a great experience working on them as a team. Yeah, so if there are no more questions, and we did the robot demonstration, then that's all the information you need to know. This will be, of course, uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you have any other additional questions, you can join our Slack, ask them in the appropriate channels, and then we'll get you plugged in into our team. And yeah, that's it from us. Have a nice day.
I feel like I should have kept the stream on for like a couple more minutes.